The family got together at Hood River, Oregon from July 24th through July 29th. We came in through Washington from Canada as we returned from our Banff National Park trip. Jen, Chaz, and Bob all flew in to Portland, and then everyone else from Portland drove in by car. On the morning of July 25th, we went to Waterfront Park in downtown Hood River, and the kids had a good time playing on the equipment, and Henry had a chance to explore a tunnel. We then went to lunch at a nearby restaurant. You can see Chaz eyeing his. In the afternoon, back at the house, Henry shows Grandma some clover. The next morning, we went a few miles to Mosier and took a hike along an old highway there that has now been converted to a hiking trail. On the south side of the trail, we see a lava field and a pretty good wall of lava. The hike offered pretty views down of the Columbia River and its gorge and islands. It offered a tunnel. It offered some interesting geological formations. It offered riverboats. It provided views of some very pretty wildflowers. And it even showed us a red-necklaced snake. In the afternoon, back at the house, we staged a water fight. Even the photographer was fair game. The next day we took a very pretty 35-mile loop drive south of Hood River down to Parkdale and back through an agricultural area, and the drive is known as the Fruit Loop. We arrived at the Lavender Valley, a pretty spot filled with the bright purple blossoms. The field of lavender plants was enormous. The Lavender Valley provided its own views of Mount Hood. As well as a pretty rural scene. As we left, we looked north and saw Mount Adams in the distance. We then stopped to visit an alpaca farm. The alpacas were also available for feeding.
Sorry. There's a dog too. Oh. Picturing it in a little. I didn't know they lived that long. Hi. Oh, they're so cute. I just want to pet your fuzzy little head. I want to give us your pet. You're so cute, right?
An employee of the associated shop demonstrated making alpaca yarn.
Making string. Then I will fill another bobbin up and I will put each one down here on a lazy Kate, spin the wheel the opposite direction and ply the two together. So I'll take a string from each one, thread it onto an empty bobbin.
You could do that.
And that's how you get a two-plied yarn.
Okay.
She makes that look really easy.
Doesn't she?
Yeah. How long did it take you to learn how to do that?
Let's see, I think I've been doing this for like 3 years now, roughly. My mother-in-law taught me how, and the owners were gracious enough once they learned, they're like, hey, you can demonstrate. So I'm like, okay. So I got my practice in.
Then we stopped for a picnic lunch at a fruit and flower stand. While we ate, Henry wandered. And Jack took a well-earned rest.
Nice.
Then Henry made an inspection tour of the gardens. Uh-oh. He found them to be satisfactory. Aside from flowers, the gardens also had fruit. These are blueberries. And here, going past the raspberry bushes and picking one illegally, is Jack. Then Uncle Bob gave a tired Jack a ride back to the car. The next day, July 28th, was to be our last full day together at Hood River. News that took Henry somewhat by surprise. But he quickly recovered his equanimity. After breakfast, we returned to Waterfront Park. Then the engineer came out in James, under whose direction a canal was built leading to the river. Jen and Chaz arrived in time to see some of the handiwork. Then it was time to return to the house for naps and lunch. After lunch, while the children napped, the women discussed their upcoming trip to France over some wine tasting across the street, and the menfolk played cube.
Hard from throwing all the way back there, isn't it, Bob? Oh! Awesome. Action shot.
Later that afternoon, we all gathered for the family picture, and then our stay together was at an end.